Welcome to Thundering Legion, a podcast by and for Armed Forces members covering apologetics, interviews, and news and events from a Christian perspective. Our mission is to advance the gospel to Armed Forces members of all nations and build Christian community for the purpose of mutual encouragement and accountability. Now for today's show.
Welcome to the first edition of the Thundering Legion newscast, an update on current events affecting Christians in the military. A week after the National Defense Authorization Act was signed, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin released a memo effectively repealing the COVID-19 vaccination requirement for U.S. troops. In his two-page memo, he wrote that, "No individuals currently serving in the armed forces shall be separated solely on the basis of their refusal to receive the COVID-19 vaccination if they sought an accommodation on religious, administrative, or medical grounds. The military departments will also update the records of such individuals to remove any adverse actions solely associated with the denials of such requests, including letters of reprimand." Since August 21, 2021, the vaccine has been a requirement for all DoD members, sparking controversy and a slew of religious exemption requests. However, according to the Associated Press, out of over 12,000 religious exemption requests, not a single one had been approved in December of 2022. The Air Force's own numbers show 98 approved exemptions and 6,642 rejected, although most, if not all, of the approvals are for military members already approaching their career's terminal period. Captain Weir, an officer in the United States Air Force, summed up the argument against a COVID mandate, saying, "Aborted baby cells were used in the development or test of the vaccine. Some companies use these cells in different ways. Pfizer and Moderna used aborted cells in testing and development, while Johnson & Johnson or Novavax only used aborted cells in testing but not development. To my knowledge, none of the final products had aborted tissue in them, but they wouldn't have made it to the market without an abortion occurring. It's wrong to benefit from an evil action, therefore it's wrong to use a product that was produced via an evil action." In other news, on January 4th of 2023, the DoD approved an extension to the Military Parental Leave Program, allowing up to 12 weeks of parental leave to members who have given birth, adopted a child, or had a child placed for adoption or long-term foster care with them. Mothers will be granted 12 weeks of parental leave following a period of convalescent leave, and fathers will be granted 12 weeks of leave following the birth of their child. Megan Myers, a writer with the Military Times, noted that some members may still find it difficult to take their allotted leave time, though. In her article, she wrote that, while DoD has a legal deadline, the services were not obligated to time their policies accordingly, leaving a gap that cuts into what Congress intended to be an improvement to the quality of life. Only time will tell whether the policy change will be a true improvement or an empty promise. The war in Ukraine continues to rage. On Saturday, January 14th, a Russian rocket struck a Ukrainian apartment building in Dnipro, killing at least 40 people, while injuring an additional 73. Although Russia took responsibility for the barrage of attacks on Saturday during a press release the next day, they did not specifically reference the apartment building in Dnipro. This attack is the most severe loss of life in Ukraine in several months, and highlights the many civilian targets that Russia continues to attack on a weekly basis. The Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights verified a total of 7,031 civilian deaths during Russia's invasion of Ukraine as of January 15, 2023. Of those deaths, 433 were civilians. 2 Army veterans were charged with stealing more than $2 million worth of military gear from Fort Hood unit inventories. The pair used their access to the base to steal over 100 night vision devices and will now face punishments of federal jail time, probation, and financial restitution. January will be the first month that the 2023 pay raise will take effect on military members' paychecks. The 4.6% raise has been touted as a win for the troops, as it is the largest single-year increase in over 20 years. However, with a 2022 inflation rate of 6.5% according to the Consumer Price Index, that raise may still leave some feeling worse off than they were 1 year ago. That's the news you need to know. Subscribe to the Thundering Legion podcast for more interviews, analysis, and scripture-based discussion on timeless topics.
Thanks for listening to Thundering Legion. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a rating and review. Please share this episode with another Armed Forces member who needs encouragement in their faith. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next episode.